All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're listening or watching to this episode. Welcome to another episode of the Drew's News podcast and YouTube channel. I say it every episode, but I'm really excited for this one, y'all. We have our third episode with Dr. Allison Forrest from the University of Florida and the Gators Experience Program. She is their director, so she does some really cool things for our athletes. So I kind of wanted to kind of highlight our athletes in a different way. Like I know for me, as an avid sports fan, we think of our athletes as just someone that we look up to and throw the ball and all those things. But they are much more than what they do on the field. They are, they are members of our community and they do great work off the field as well. And I had the opportunity to partner with Dr. Forrest recently for their Gator Chum and Chat, and that was really cool because I got to provide career advice and all the things to those athletes. We had our very first episode with Amy Meacham, Extraordinary Joy, and I believe Allison is a part of that board as well. So what a small world that is. And I think you also work with Amy's husband as well, a little bit, Tony. So that's really cool. And then we had Noah Hutton. So I sounded a little bit like groggy this morning. I just went to his concert. It was a great show. Check out his new music. He just released a brand new song made for the stage. And actually, fun fact, y'all, didn't know this until after we recorded the episode, but once we recorded the episode and I released it, people were like, Drew, you do know he was on The Voice, right? And I had no idea. So that's really cool. We got put on the map without knowing it. But so grateful for Noah, so grateful for his partnership, and we have some exciting things to come as well. But enough of Noah, it is the Allison show today. So just to get started, just tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit about who's Allison.
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Allison Forrest. I am currently, as you mentioned, Director of Gators Experience. My professional life is working with our student athletes to prepare them for life afterwards. I'm from Virginia. I started at James Madison University, my educational journey, and then came down to UF for my master's and stayed here for my doctorate program as well. My brother was the athlete growing up. My family was highly involved in sports, so I was always at different sporting events and working and volunteering, and I think that's where interest in sports came. So that's always been something in my free time, going to events, watching sports. I love musicals. I like watching musicals, going to them,
Yes,
enjoying.
to go to one
Yes.
together.
Yes, love musicals. I do like to read for fun now, so I'm getting into reading, traveling, seeing new places, um, any of that aspect of like interest that I have. But yeah, I have one sibling, my brother, small family, came from Virginia. Kind of some highlights there. Yeah.
How ironic, right? Like you're from James Madison, and that's where our former football coach is going back home,
Yes.
and where
Yes.
you were. So it's just a small world, isn't it?
It is.
So
My social media feed is a lot of overlapping right now in the athletics world. But again, the journey, and I think as we talk about career development and everybody's journey, like the connections people have and the small world, it shows up a lot.
absolutely. Speaking of books and podcasts, I am reading the
Yes.
Letland Theory by Mel Robbins. She's a great author, podcaster, all things. So if any of you are interested in a good read, that is one that I would recommend. Allison, have you read that?
No, we chatted about it, but I have it. I bought it for myself for my birthday, but it is not. I'm one of like the season where you're at
Yep.
where you need to read it, and it's been sitting there. Now, I will say, I think it's getting closer to the top. I think around the holidays, I just like to escape with a good mystery or something. But yeah, it's up there. The podcast, I listen to her a lot. Definitely follow her, but I've heard all great things, so it's on the top there. So definitely we'll be chatting about it soon.
Yep, I hear you. All about seasons, right? I
Yes.
had a rough patch, right? But I believe that the good Lord, I'm a big believer in faith. I believe that He brings you to that rough path so that you can come come out on top, rise above, and just use that as a testimony and to be the vessel for His people. So um,
Yeah.
really excited for all the things that are to come. There's so much
Yeah.
exciting things going on in my world, some that I wish that I could say, but I can't say right now. But and they're pending, and hopefully I'll be able to share soon. So, can you share with us a little? And you did this a little bit about your professional journey and how you ended up working in athletics when you could have chosen any other occupation.
Yeah, so I think as a kid growing up, my mom was a teacher, and I was drawn to that caring, working with students, being a teacher. Didn't know that this industry existed to do very similar of teaching and career development and caring about student athletes in the college setting. Again, I got started about 15, 20 years ago, and female in athletics is still a different landscape than it is now. And so I actually started as a laundry girl for a football team at James Madison. So I jokingly say I think that's probably the lowest place you could start in athletics. I absolutely loved it. I would go to class, I'd come in after practice. The washer and dryer kind of did the laundry for me.
Right.
I would put music on, listen to some good music, get my homework done. It was an easy on-campus job. And but from there, I think it was like saying yes to things. And so there was opportunity to film practice. We had two videographers, and if practice got moved and it didn't work with their schedule, we needed someone. Coaches say, "Can you film?" Sure, I'll film. Help send out recruiting materials and anything I could, I said yes. And at one point, the head coach was like, "Why are you not a manager?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Just tell me what you want me to do." And so again, Coach Matthews opened that door for me to be equipment manager with a team. Did that for some years and enjoyed all of it, but also was in classes with some of the athletes and maybe was like the big sister for them. Like they would ask the questions, how do I shop? And ask financial questions. How am I saving money? I want an animal. Now I have to pay more for the apartment. All these things that a student from 18 to 22 years old living on their own, probably for the first time, are navigating. And I was like, man, I feel like there should be someone that could help with this. But I didn't know the industry. Again, 20 years ago, student athlete development is not what it is now. And so I always had that in the back of my mind, came to Florida and started in operations, did guest services in operations, football, volleyball, basketball, baseball, different areas. Again, always saying yes. And then saw a GA role for intern of life skills, and it was running community service for our athletes. And I loved volunteering. It's been something my family's been involved in, me even high school and college. I was like, man, I can like go do community service with our athletes and have a job. Like, this is cool. I always said I wanted to hit the lottery so I could just volunteer for a living, but I guess, second best option. And so did that. Door opened for a new role in career development within the athletic department. And my supervisor asked, and I said, yeah, let's do it. And so I built the career development programming for our student athletes for about 7, 8 years. Again, seeing what our needs of our athletes were, the employers, building that pipeline, talking with our coaches, and then staff changes again, expanded our staff, rebranded, and then stepped into the quote director role, overseeing the entire unit and still doing the career pillar of programming within that unit. So, again, working with our student athletes has been a common in all the different roles that I've had, hearing what their needs are, problem solving, saying yes, work ethic, accountability, I think just opened all those doors in the path. And also think some is just faith and fate and the way the journey is supposed to be, that has led me here to the current role that I'm in.
Absolutely. And it's very cool to hear you say that you were like the big sister, all
Yeah.
those years ago. because you're still answering those questions
Yeah.
for our athletes, right? You're still
I might be auntie now. I don't know. I think I'm like auntie, maybe mama for some of them, but
you're the
yeah,
cool auntie or the
definitely.
cool
Yeah,
mom,
cool auntie.
okay?
Yeah.
So with that, tell me a little bit about who is one individual that had a major impact on your professional journey and or inspired you to choose the career path that you have chosen.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to choose one. I think it's important to have probably a board of directors or multiple people that are there at the right time for you in your life. I definitely think seeing my mom as a caring teacher and being around that environment growing up was a big influence. My grandmother's definitely work ethic was there. Um, Going into that journey I just talked about, I would have never had the first opportunity if it wasn't for Coach Mickey Matthews to give me opportunity as an equipment manager, continue to work with every person who saw me that said, "Hey, can you do this? Can you help me with this?" To provide those opportunities. And a lot of times it's getting in the door, getting the opportunity, and being trusted with it. That is so impactful. My boss, as the equipment manager, gave me a lot of responsibility, probably that I shouldn't have had as a student, but it gave me the experience I needed. And even when I came to operations in UF, it's, hey, we need extra people at this event. Can you help? Yes, let me go. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I'm going to go do it. We're going to figure it out and we're just going to go. And those are the people that when they do reference checks are like, no, they have the work ethic, they have this. That's how, and I believe that experience got me the extra step up to get the GA role. And then my work ethic, every day is kind of a interview.
Mhm.
So that just opened the opportunity for the next step. Years ago, like as I mentioned, life skills was very small as an industry. We have a national organization in 4A, and I've been a member of that for since I started my journey. I've met so many incredible people through that organization that you can pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about this event. What are your thoughts? Have you done this? I need a speaker for this." It's different when you can't just turn your corner and go to another office and say, "Hey, what are you kind of thinking?" And so having those mentors and members that will always be there, probably too many to name and ones that I'm still reaching out to, but that community was so impactful in my professional career, just having that community. And then I would be so remiss if I didn't talk about my mentor. She recently lost her battle with cancer last year, but Elise was somebody that was so positive in the N4A community, became an academic advisor at James Madison after I left. But because of the connections and that N4A community, we remained real close. And someone that every time there's a new job or a new challenge or experience in college athletics we're trying to get to, just someone to talk to say, okay, we're going through this. Have you thought about this? And that mentor piece as well, it's important to have good people, but it's so hard to say just one person did everything.
Mhm.
I just think there's so many doors that have opened and phone calls that have happened because of amazing people along the way.
Absolutely. It's all about the village. I always tell people
Hmm.
when I post and I say my thank yous, I just say thank you to my village, right? Because like you
Yes.
said, it's too many people to name, but if
Yeah.
you're part of my village, you know that, right?
Yeah.
I know the ones who are going to be there for me and who are showing up. And so that
Mhm.
goes without saying. So
Yeah.
you know what that village means. So if anyone's watching and or listening right now and they're like, okay, Allison is the director of the Gators Experience, but what the heck is that, right?
Yeah.
What is the Gator Experience?
Yeah, so Gators Experience is the program, student athlete development program, life skills, it's been historically called, for our student athletes. So it focuses on career development, leadership, community outreach, really preparing our student athletes for their time once they're gone from UF. And so helping them, empowering them, getting involved in the community. We've done service abroad, leadership development, career planning, really helping them so when they leave, they are prepared professionals, whether that's grad school, professional athletics, or going into the workforce. So, easy way, anything probably outside the classroom and outside their sport, we focus on with our team.
Absolutely. Very important skills because, like I mentioned in the
Yes.
beginning, they're much more than just athletes. We see them on the weekends
Yes.
on the field, but they are there to get a degree. They want a job. They want to be successful on and off the court, right? And so
Yes.
I think you've played a key role and a key part in a lot of athletes' lives, and it's just so amazing to watch you through social media mostly, right? Like we've gotten to connect more in person as of
Yeah.
recently, but the power of social media, I can just see that you truly care about each and every one of your athletes, and they're more than just a number, right? They have a name,
Yes.
they have a story,
Mhm.
and you're
Yes.
just helping them along that way. And so just to see our athletes that move on and they go to the NFL and they give big shout outs. I can't remember, you might remember because it's still pinned to the top of your Twitter. The
Yes.
your athlete, what was the name of the athlete?
It was Chauncey Gardner Johnson or CJ Gardner Johnson now. Yes.
Uh, it seems like you had a very big impact on him, and he had an impact on you, and so he's doing amazing things, and you had a small sliver to play in that, right? And so just I always say if I can sprinkle a little bit everywhere I go, right? Like I never would have thought that I would have ended up in the world of higher ed, but here we
Mhm.
are. I just thought I wanted to find a news station, be on TV, and that was it. And I think that I could see myself retiring in disability services, and then I'm
Mhm.
also like Drew, don't get comfortable because the uncomfortable is where we grow, right? And if your time
Absolutely.
is to spread your wings and fly, just look at that like, hey, it's because you have a bigger impact to make, and so you spread a little bit in every organization and every department that you've been a part of, and then you get to make a bigger impact than you would ever dream possible, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely. I like to say leave a little sparkle everywhere you
oh,
go
I like
to.
that
So
better.
leave a little sprinkle, but my cup right now says born to sparkle. But I just feel like the positivity, the joy, the happiness, everything you're doing, just leave a little sparkle. But sparkle, sprinkle, it's all important to see that.
So you probably do a lot of things within your
Yeah.
job, right? Like Dr. Seuss, right? You wear many hats probably.
Mhm.
But if you could
Yeah.
describe your job and your current role in 3 words, what would they be and why? Deep question there.
Wow. I know, 3 words. This is tough. I'm going to use some hyphens, so bear with me. Um, I think relationship building, strategic planning, and problem solving. I might have used a lot of hyphens on all three as they came to me, but those would be the three. The whys, I think at the end of the day, you're talking about our athletes are more than an athlete. They all have a story. There's about 500 every single year. We're getting a lot new student athletes every single year and finding that story, building that relationship. I'm a firm believer they don't trust you, they don't see you as a person. It's hard for them to share with you their most vulnerable things, which could be career development and what is life outside of athletics and the identity. And it's a very complex situation for each student athlete and each person. And so building that relationship is so important, not just with our athletes, it's with donors, it's with boosters, it's with coaching staff, support staffs, campus partners, employers, like everything we do is relationship building. I think that goes into strategic planning. Where is the program going? Where is Gators Experience going next? What challenges, barriers, differences is college athletics now? How do we adapt? How do we change? You're building in collaboration could kind of get thrown in there too of how are you bringing social media, creative? How are you telling your story? You're doing so much of doing the story. How are you telling the story? And advocating for the athletes to do. So I think that strategic piece, funding, budgeting, all that goes into it. And then problem solving. I think every day is problem solving. Whatever comes in the office, whatever phone, text, FaceTime, ways that the athletes can communicate, everything is problem solving. Event planning could be up there. We do a lot of events, but there's a lot that goes on. Every day is not the same, but you got to remember at the end of the day, you're building relationships, that collaborative piece. Again, everybody should be helping in the career development of a student athlete. So that takes a lot of village and a lot of connections to have. So I know I gave you some hyphenations,
Yeah,
but
no, no, you're
it's very
good.
hard. You asked for three.
You're good. Relationship building is at the core of what I do as well. I'm like, yeah, you're here to get your academic accommodations, but I want to get to know you as a person, right? Um, some of those conversations that I have, and I'm sure you as well, are not the most easiest, right? Like sometimes that answer has to be a no because it has to be reasonable. What is reasonable, right? And sometimes that might be the first time that student has been told no, right? So I always like to start out each of my meetings with tell me a fun fact about yourself, right? And then I give them one about myself. Why? Because I want them to know I'm human too,
Mhm.
just like you. We're going through it together, and I get
Mhm.
you. But let's I always call it the compliment sandwich. Okay,
Yeah.
here's what we can't do, right? But here's what we can do, and here's where we can go, right? So sprinkle that a positive in with that negative.
Mhm.
My director always has a saying that says, "Happy, peppy people," right? And like you
Mhm.
said, problem solving, things are gonna come up, but no matter what, we've got to be happy, peppy people. Why? Because the way that we show up, the way that
Mhm.
our energy feeds off to the athletes, right? So we're
Mhm.
positive, like hey, like it's okay. Like this is a hurdle, but we're gonna get through
Mhm.
this. Like if we motivate them, right, then they're gonna try even harder, right? But if we come in negative and we're like, oh my goodness, like you're back in my office again, like
Mhm.
what's going on? You really gotta say, nope, I'm that person, right?
Mhm.
The one thing that we always say in the DRC, we hope that as accessibility specialists, we can be that person for you. We can make UF feel small. And I think
Mhm.
your mission is similar, right? Like UF is a very big place that you
It
hold
is.
in athletes. You are that person. Your staff is that person that they can come to no matter what it is, whether it's something to do with your office or whether it's not, or whether it's personal. We're all in this together, right? So,
Yes.
um,
Yes. High School Musical.
yep. All in it. No, I
I
can't.
might have done the dance earlier this week in the hallway.
Oh
So
my
yes.
goodness. I just gotta come over and visit you, and we can sing
Yes.
it, and it all will be right in the world, right? Um,
Yes.
what is one moment? I'm sure you've had too many to count, but
Yeah.
of your career that you'll never forget.
Yeah. Well, before I answer that, I do want to plug, if you haven't read the book, I know we talked about books earlier, but The Energy Bus by John Gordon is amazing. It was one that very small, so it's an easy, quick read. But it's been one that's been true to my core and my professional journey. I tend to read it at the beginning of every new year just to get on there, but it's all about energy, positivity, energy vampires, getting people on your bus. So a great read for anybody out there and yourself as well, that you might need a refresh here and there.
Mm,
Um, but there are a lot of great moments and I've been at UF 15 years now. Like there's just so many in that journey. I think one would be the first time, like full circle. A lot of what we do is delayed gratification. I like to say, we're working with the students, but they may not get that job for 3 years later, or, you're preparing towards something. And the first time I had a student like go through the full process of working with me for career documents, the resumes, the interview prep, the career fair prep, updating everything, and then going to the career fair, talking to the employers, building that confidence, got a job, and then later on accepted a new job, promotion up at a different company that we didn't have a connection with prior,
mm,
reach out and say, hey, like I want our company to be at the career fair. And I'm like, awesome, come back. And now they're coming back, hiring more rock star of our athletes and like continuing it like that. Now I've seen it a couple times now since, but I think that first time of like, wow, this is the experience. When you go back to like what we are, the experience is what we can kind of control at UF and how the program, if they go to one of our programs, did they enjoy themselves? Was it a good experience? And they trusted us enough to now say, hey, to their supervisor, they want to come back and recruit more athletes. And so to me, that's like, okay, you enjoyed it, you had fun, you're successful. Now come back and tell our other student athletes, but also hire them and then watch that continue to grow. Is just one of the special moments, I think. And then recently we've added a service abroad trip. And currently,
Where do y'all go? I gotta know.
so first year was Costa Rica. Second year was Spain. Third year last year was Dominican. And this year it is Greece.
Wow, if
So
you need a campus partner
news.
to go, like
Yeah, so hot off the press. It is Greece that we are going to this year. But yes, it's been amazing those trips, and I think there's so much that you can't quantify or put into words. Selfishly, I had not been out of the country, like flying to go to another country, go through customs until we went to Costa Rica, and I'd never been to Europe or anything like that. So not only am I going through that, the students maybe their first time out of the country, like that as administrators, experience is so beneficial to grow with them. But also we had two that went to Spain that now currently after that, and there's other examples, but they have decided their return to Spain to teach English to students over in Spain. So they're both over there now. They've sent a picture and caught up and had breakfast together. And I just, again, providing these opportunities to see how it's impacting their future is what it's all about. But there's so many. Walking across the stage at graduation, commencement will get me every time.
Mhm.
Um, there's just so much. And I think that's in general for every student. Sitting at commencement and watching people cross the stage, they all have a story, they all have a journey, and yeah, they celebrate and they're fun and cheering, and I love every second of it. But um, there's a lot that they've gone through, and knowing like they're going to med school, they're going, to dentistry or anything that they're doing, they've accepted jobs. They're all happy moments. Even when someone sends a picture ready for a career fair and says, "Hey, is this outfit good?" I'm like, "Yes, you look great." Anything we can do, there's so many happy moments, but I think the full circle of students have bought into this program, the longevity of it. They were a student, they've been hired, they're coming back, they're hiring more people and continue that snowball effect has just been so happy to see. Continue to be proud of them.
All right, so we jumping right into career, like let's just dive into it even more. If an employer is watching, what sets a student athlete apart from the rest of the candidates, right? Why should someone hire an athlete?
Yeah, I think when looking first with like NACE, that like the skills and traits that employers want, communication, teamwork, problem solving, those are a lot that our student athletes have. Leadership. They've grown up working in a team aspect. Even for some of the individual sports, you're still working as a team. And so what may be second nature to them, is something that really sets them apart. They've worked in a team, they've worked with different people, they've accepted feedback, have received feedback, will process it, try to get better. They're driven. Most of the time, they're accountable. They're showing up 10, 15 minutes before something's supposed to, they're communicating. They know how to look at their time, the time management of what
Yep,
it takes.
big piece.
I think, yeah, like for they are with their sport 20 hours a week. But when you think about the travel and the prep they do before a practice and after a practice or watching film, the nutritional piece, the focus on their mind, like so much goes into this. And we've gone through the COVID times where it's the work from home, the remote, but students at UF can be on online classes. So some may have online classes and in person, how they're balancing that schedule. They're really good at the coffee shop vibes, is what I like to say. They can work and do work from anywhere. I mean, they've had to when they're on the bus, they're on the road, they're in a hotel, they're in an airport. Those are the things that employer knows that you can balance your time. You don't have to be in a cubicle in an office sitting there. They're going to get their job done and can work with a group, can accept feedback, criticism, which are positives. That's not a negative, but they want to get better. They've worked with professionals their whole life. They've had so many adults in their lives that it may not be like, oh, I had my first supervisor. They've had coaches that are supervisors and adults that how they communicate. We always talk about communication, but how you communicate with a coach, an assistant coach, athletic trainer, a tutor, an advisor, a professor. Like they're all different, but that's part of them figuring out how to communicate with multiple people, which is important in the field. And the goal driven, the work ethic, a lot of times just really sets them apart and they're trainable. And I think that's the biggest piece. They're usually great personalities, fun, will be great to work as a team, but they're coachable, they're trainable, and a lot that I think employers like to see, and which is why we've had a lot of success of employers reaching out or us reaching out. And even if they maybe have not had a student athlete as an intern before, they're like, man, I need more. And I'm like, yeah, they're really great. And I always get it sometimes, even from the student athletes through our internship program. A supervisor may give them a task thinking it takes 6 hours. And all of a sudden they're like, all right, I'm done. Here you go. And they're like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, you asked me to do it. I locked in, I focused, I did it. I had some questions. Here you go. And so it's always a challenge sometimes for also the athlete to advocate and say, hey, I have initiative. I finished the task. These are the questions I had, or, everything's done that you asked for. What do we have next? What can I do next? How can I get better? And having those, just like that well-being of like, hey, I need to ask, what more can I do? What can I get better in? Really is something that I think an employer will be happy with.
Absolutely. I had the amazing opportunity last semester to witness student athlete in action with internship because they worked in our office in the Disability Research Center. We had a swimmer, and so he was shadowing my appointments and all the things, and he was telling me his schedule, and he had a crazy internship schedule. Like it was because diving practice is literally in the middle of the day. So he would literally come to us for like 2 hours in the morning, go to the pool, come back to us, and then go back to the pool again, and then come back the next day. I'm like, I don't know how you do it all. I really don't. So I really think just what you're saying, that time management, like I really feel like our athletes can teach our all our students, right? Because that is the number one thing that students students lack, that
Yeah.
athletes have no choice, right? Because
Hmm.
they can study anywhere, they can do anything anywhere. Because hey, I only have an hour of time before practice, but I got to get this done. So
Hmm.
instead, project done because a 6 hour project, I got to dwindle that down. How can I crunch that to 4 hours?
Hmm.
That's all I got.
Yeah. And
So
it's incredible. But I think when you go back to employers, it's also we're grateful that there are partners and employers that understand their schedule and will, be flexible, but they're going to work hard. It's just, their schedule is when it can be. And so we're really grateful for the partners and employers that work with our schedules of the student athletes to give them beneficial experiences that can help them. Because again, their college experience is few years compared to their life and really helping prepare them for afterwards.
absolutely. So with that, that's a great transition.
Oh, good.
If anyone is listening or watching, are there any ways, either community members itself, organizations, employers, if they're listening and they're like, I got to get involved in this, I want to get back to the Gator Nation, I want to pour into our athletes, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so we'll accept everybody to help. It's not just the employer. I think you've seen that at our Chomp and Chat event. It's everybody, and career development is everybody helping. Everybody has a story, an experience, a professional journey. And so former athletes at any level, employers, professionals, entrepreneurs, you know, help share your advice. And if you're willing to help share the advice, we will accept that. One way is myself emailing me. I don't know if you can connect it somewhere else, but allisonf@gators.ufl.edu. You can email me directly. Our website is gatorsexperience.com, so you can learn about more on the Florida Gators website and connect with me. My contact information is there, or LinkedIn. We do host one workshop or like info session a semester. that I'll put out on LinkedIn that you can sign up, and we'll tell you all the different ways to help on the networking career side for our student athletes. So it's a save the date and find if it's a networking opportunity, a micro internship or career fair, mentoring, any of those ways that we can connect you with our student athletes. And we also have a internal database for our student athletes where it's a Google document that shares any open opportunities, whether that's shadowing, that's a 1 week internship, full-time job, part-time, as well as companies that like to hire athletes. So even if you're not hiring at the current moment, but you want student athletes to think about your company, that's another way that you can add to that with a description and a link to your website. So email will be the best, but again, gatorsexperience.com will get you to all of my contact information as well. And would happy to have anybody join in on that.
Absolutely. And don't worry, guys, all that information is going to be in the show notes and the YouTube description
Perfect.
below. So they will have a direct contact with you. I'm a little biased, but come and join me at the next Open Chat because that was really fun. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know how this is gonna go, but I really loved it. I really loved it, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because again, back to what I was saying in the beginning, they're more than an athlete, right? You really got to know the person off the field. And
Yeah.
to me, the human is the most incredible thing to me. Like,
Yeah.
I love what you do on the field, right? Like, score those touchdowns, get those home runs, but like, it's just incredible to see the incredible minds and brains and entrepreneurs and innovators and all the things that we have within our student athletes.
Yeah. And I think, again, what you said at the beginning of your journey has shifted too. You've continued to do new things and sharing that experience. They can talk to myself. We have two other career coaches. They can talk to us all the time. They hear it from us, but hearing it from employers to share what their skill sets are, to share their journey, to say, this is how I ended up here, and that doors are going to open and different opportunities. Everybody has that experience and advice to share and knows people. So we're continuing telling our athletes, like, you don't know who knows who, and they're starting to see that. But just share what you're interested in and see if there's somebody that they could connect you with, whether it's a hobby or a career. And so sometimes your careers may align, but maybe it's a hobby that you have and what you're really interested in, or volunteering with an organization, or getting involved in a board, or doing a podcast, or all these other things. Like, there are ways to build those connections and opportunities, and having leaders in the community and former athletes share that every person has a professional journey, just like you asked of, like, kind of both of us to share, but our student athletes to hear that and understand that they may not know exactly where they want to go when they leave UF, but also people are changing their careers multiple times a year, or multiple times in their journey. And that's okay. And that's part of the growth. And to me, career development and professional development is constantly happening. And so making sure they understand, like, it's okay, take your first job, learn something, and see where it comes from that. So we're very grateful for everybody that attends, but sharing that, I'm like, yes, you have a story to tell, like, go share it with our athletes. And definitely grateful for that. Y'all might have had a little rowdy table. It was a lot of fun where you all were,
I
but
don't know what you're
um,
talking about. I think my friend
hey,
Robin might get in a little bit of trouble, but
it's okay. Career readiness is fun. That's what I always like to say. Like, we can make career readiness fun, and those events are always fun and smiles leaving them. So truly grateful for that.
yeah, I totally 110% agree with what you're saying. It's okay for the journey to shift, right? Like the heart of who I am is storytelling and that positive impact. So I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna be in news and I'm in higher ed and like privacy laws. How do you share that story? So really, this podcast was born, and I don't know if I ever told you this, Allison, but this podcast was born due to COVID. I was in my dorm room and I'm like, all right, what do we do? Right. So I started it in 2020. And then, professional life really took a hold of me. And I'm like, I really miss the content creation. Right. So that's where the podcast was born. And I'm really glad God knows what he's doing. Where God guides, he provides, because I'm a positive person. And unfortunately, we all know used as negative. And so I really think that would have took a toll on my mental health. Whereas now I have a bigger and better platform. I can bring on who I want. I don't have to worry about, oh, you can only have an episode for 20 minutes. Get as much as you can, right? If I want to do a special, if I want to take certain guests live, I can do that. I hope to kind of do some community spotlights of what's going on in our communities, and maybe we might be able to connect with that. Maybe we can get clearance and all the things to highlight the Gator experience, because we really want to do that storytelling, right? Get back to what I used to do, like that video content. And so
Mhm.
I'm telling myself, Drew, you don't have to have a news organization to do that. You just got to have that motivation and that drive. So lots of exciting
Yeah.
things to come. We're partnering with Extraordinary Joy. Hope to y'all have a camp,
Yeah.
and so I saw the dates of the new camp, and I was like so excited because I told Amy, I'm like, I'm gonna make it this year, but
Yeah.
I will be at a conference for work during those same dates. But we are definitely gonna sponsor
Yeah.
at the very least. So
That's awesome. Yeah, there's seasons of life, and sometimes a podcast can be a priority at a moment, and then something else has to take a shift, but it's never gone. It's just a season, and then it's back in a different way. And so that's part of the journey that is professional development, career development, and all the buzzwords, but um, impactful in the journey that you have. So love to
yeah,
see that it's back, but I know it never really left you. So
no, it was always in the heart. I never would have thought that we would be such a big platform that we were able to give a scholarship in our name,
yeah,
right? We were able to do the first Drew D's Hope Scholarship, Hope standing for helping one
yeah,
person above, and we're helping someone go to London, right?
yes.
We were
So
able
incredible.
Yep, we were able to do $500 this year. So the goal is the work starts now, right? The big goal that I have is by this time next year the account will have $2,000 in it. So we can award two people $1,000 scholarships. So
Love it.
stay tuned for all those fundraisers. We got our first one at Texas Roadhouse, thanks to my fellow high school classmate Lacey Harris and her management team. So February 19th on Thursday, come out to Texas Roadhouse. We're also going to be at Night to Shine, tabling at the Caregivers Retreat. Amy connected us with that with Extraordinary Joy. So lots of great things and lots of ways to get involved, whether it's in your community with our athletes, all the things. And so with that, Allison, we've had a great conversation today. This is
Yes.
one of those episodes that you just don't want it to end, right? But
You know?
ultimately, all good things must come to an
Yes.
end, right? So to wrap
Yeah.
it up, to tie it in a bow, to sum it all up, this is my last question. It is my signature question. I ask everyone that comes on the show and everyone that will come on the show this question. So, what do you hope the Allison Forrest legacy will be?
Yeah. Tough one, but always changing. I think at the core, you kind of mentioned it earlier, is that the caring piece. Like, I want my friends, my family, every student athlete, every coach, every person I come in with know that like I truly care about people. Um, Again, you could go on the athletic side of my professional role. They're more than an athlete. They're more than what they're competing for. I think that makes it so much more fun to go to games is just to cheer on them. But to me, like I have a kind of funny story with it, but a big motto of my life, it took a while to get there, but I have realized that my life motto is pretty much people matter, period. And I think if I can keep that to my core, at the end of the day, problem solving, strategic planning, all that, there's those things that come up. You have to know at the core is the people matter. And I think if you show that people matter, your staff, your colleagues, your friends, it's just true. So I hope everybody thinks back and is like, man, Allison really cared. Allison really cared about us. Even if it's tough news or tough love, you got to give them. I truly care, um, and that people matter in that. And I can expand on that if you want, but that's up to you.
That's up to you. This is your episode. So if there's any
Yeah,
final parting thoughts that I didn't mention or add today that you'd like to
yeah.
add to the conversation, go right ahead.
Yeah, well, I'll just share the people matter. Some people that work with me know this story, but it was I do believe everybody has like, what's your why? What's your word? What's your thing? And sometimes you sitting in a corner and trying to think it up, it doesn't, it's hard to do. And I think sometimes it's always there. You just don't know how loudly it's there. And through my doctoral program, my dissertation was on the perceptions of career readiness, engagement of football student athletes at a Division I institution. Long words, but with that, it was a very long dissertation. It took years, a lot of coffee, a lot of stress, everything. And I'm just in my office on weekends, grinding and typing and typing. And I was at the very end, and I think I was frustrated in like the world that athletics probably was with all the changing and COVID and everything that was going on and just everything. And I was like, at the end of the day, we can have all this stuff, but people is what matters. Like, and I was just frustrated at myself. I was having a conversation with myself. I said, you know what? The last sentence of my dissertation is going to be people matter, period. And I'm like, well, not really sure this is a full sentence. I'm not sure my editor, my professor, my chair, I'm not sure anybody's going to approve it. But this is like rough draft number 82.
Oh goodness.
I'm just going to put people matter, period. Let them come back and see. And so that nobody came back and said anything. Now, I don't know if it's just they skimmed over that or they were just like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. But everything, I was like, people matter. And I was telling that story to our staff at the time, and they just kind of looked at me and they were like, yeah, Allison, that's you. And I was like, what? And they were like, it is. It's you. Like, people matter. I was like, wow. Like, because sometimes you don't know what other people perceive your actions and everything as. And I was like, okay, people matter. So we had an intern, assistant coordinator that left, and he gave us all a keychain that was engraved in a word or a saying that we all said. And his to me says, people matter, period. And I carry that on my keychain. There's moments where I look at it and I think, like, at the end of everything, I have to remain core. And is it my why? Is it my motto? Whatever the words are. But what we do, people matter. And that's just my slogan, my motto, my why. And I hope that when people look back, they're like, yeah, Allison, that makes sense. That is true to who you are. It might take a long journey to figure out your why sometimes,
Mm.
and to stay part of that. But for me, whether that answers the question of legacy or word or, programs are great, branding is great, social media is what it is. But to me, I want people to be like, she cared about the people. And to me, I hope that I make them feel that they matter in everything that they do. So, kind of long story with it, but
No,
that I hope
no,
will
that is
be my
great.
legacy.
Mic
And if I
drop.
know nothing
Boom.
about my dissertation, the last sentence is people matter.
So is it people matter period period like spelled out or a dot?
No, just the period
Okay.
symbol.
Okay.
No,
I
people
just,
matter, period symbol.
I just had to
Now,
know. I
adding
had to clear.
period with a period probably would have been too much for it.
Standing
But
on
yeah,
business.
yeah, standing on it, done, people matter, end of statement. With it. And I hope everything that I do, the programming, the way I interact with people, um, amplifies kind of that message.
Well, that is just a beautiful way to end it. I couldn't have scripted that if I tried. Um,
You gave me the question, so
it is, I never knew that, right? See,
yeah.
we've been in each other's orbits for so long, and so
Yes.
I get to know a little bit more about Allison, so that's wonderful. Well, I'm going to toss it back at you and say, you matter, Allison,
Thank you.
right? You are the difference maker. I always say that if I can change one life and let them know that they're worth it, they're loved, they're valued, they're seen, they're heard, I've done my job, right? I always say that I don't have any children of my own. However, I have over 800 of them because I have over 800 on my caseload.
Yeah.
And they're all my children, right? I'm not going to say babies because we are dealing with adults here, but
Yes.
they are my children. They are young adults. And I hope, like I said, people matter. And at the end of the day, they know that I care as well.
Mhm.
All right. Well, Allison doesn't know this, but if any of you have been looking at the hat here that I've been wearing, we've got Drew's News hats. And so for coming on the show today. You're gonna get a Drew's News hat.
Ooh,
So if
love it.
you will send me over your address, I will ship that out to you. And you all come and see me at some vendor events. We're doing vendor events now. I'm trying to amp up the journey of raising this $2,000. I've got a big goal, big vision. Also, starting a little committee, right? For anyone who wants to help me. I would love to come up with an annual fundraiser, um, something small that can support the scholarship every year. We'll also do, you know, the journey never stops. We can never have enough money. Unfortunately, like money makes everything happen, right? So if you want to support me, if you want to support our student athletes, the Gator experience, I'm sure that there's ways that they could do that as well. Because all the big things that you all do, unfortunately, we love to do the work we do, but it takes funds to do that.
Mhm.
To fly people across the country and all those things and go to Spain, Greece. I'm jealous. I think I need to find a sport and become a student athlete and go to Greece. But with
Yeah.
that, you've just listened and or watched another episode of the Drew's News podcast and YouTube channel. If you have a story or a topic or anything positive in the world that you would like to share, please reach out to me. Please DM me. Please email Drew's News and Podcast at gmail.com. We actually created an official email this year, and like I'm really diving all in, doing all the things,
Yes.
like giving it 110, right? Because I'm not giving it 100 because that's not my all. For me, 110 or beyond 110, whatever I got to give, however I show up, I'm gonna give it my all. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it full force. So please reach out to me. And remember, as always, if you can dream it, you can do it. Have a great day. Hope this episode inspired you and stay tuned for the next one. Take care.